right, guys, welcome to another Scanner School Ask Scanner School session here that we do live on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. So again, we've got our Patreon extra credit members over there on Zoom. I want to say hi to everybody who's over there as well. So far, I see Chris, I see Paul, I see N1 at GAW. Sorry, I forgot your name. I can't hear you guys over on the Zoom session, so there is a chat on the side. I have my eyeballs on the chat. So good evening to everybody over there. And one thing I forgot to do I am recording perfectly. Perfect. So it's been one of those evenings, guys. I do apologize. But if you guys are over on social media, do me a favor and go ahead and leave me a thumbs up right now if you're on Facebook or YouTube so we can get the points coming in and points running so you guys know everything is okay and everything is working over there. Glenn, all right, perfect. Got you in there now. Vanity call sign, perfect. All right, so what I'm doing over on my end right now is I am desperately attempting to bring over the chat box and everything else that's going on over here because, as usual, I need a second screen that I do not have set up just yet. So we're looking over here on chat. We've got a couple people who are checking in already over here on YouTube. I've got Joseph. Joseph, good to see you in again. Michael is in, and Michael says, took his SDR course and started listening to this podcast and now a Patreon member. Yes, Michael, thank you very much for being our latest and our newest Patreon supporter. You signed up today, and again, I want to thank you very much for that. Michael, if you go over to the Patreon dashboard, you will actually see a link for the Zoom session tonight. If you want to go ahead and follow us over there, you will get us without the delay. And as we continue with our roundtable discussion for our extra credit members only, you'll be part of that as well. So that will be there for you guys. We also got a Facebook user. Good evening on the Facebook side. Yes, so you have to enable the what is this, Restream chat in order for me to see who you are over there. But that's good. I will go ahead and close this out over here. So again, we are looking for your questions, and that's what we're here for. We're here to answer all your questions right now and let you know what's going on here in the podcast. So while I'm waiting for things to funnel in and see what's going on, hopefully we've got this going out to Twitter as well. It looks like everything is all set on my end, but I can't really take a look right now at that, but without crashing everything in front of me. So on the podcast, we've got session 189 released today, which is another Ask Scanner School session. And that one was answering two questions that were coming in through our voicemail numbers, which again is 516-308-2885. And also via our speak pipe. So again, if you have a question you want to answer on the podcast, if you use our two voicemail methods, you will be in the running for a free tutoring session. We also answered a question that came in from Twitter and also another one that was in the email. So I recommend going over and checking out the podcast. Next week is session 190. So we are in the stretch to make it to 200. And I think we'll get there. I think it will be a very interesting event for 200. I do have some ideas up my sleeve. A couple of reformats. You guys got a sneak peek to that a little bit. I'll just leave it at that. We'll do a little Apple teaser for you guys. Hidden in Plain Sight was an update that we will be pushing out to episode 200, as well as maybe we'll have a little bit of a 200 party live when that releases as well. We'll see what happens there. Chris is laughing over there in the Zoom session. I think he might have picked up on what it was. So we'll see. We'll give you another hint at the end of this live to see if you guys pick up on it and let me know what you think of that little the little Easter egg for you all. Let's see. So going on over here in the Q&A session, and we've got Joseph's got our very first question. He says, about the file that I put into his SDS 100. Accidentally erased the file in Sentinel and have to fix something on my computer and had to reinstall Sentinel. Joseph, that isn't as critical or as panic or need to panic as you think. So your SD, a micro SD card in your SDS 100 should have a copy of that file that I made for you because it's actively in the scanner. So very simply, just plug your scanner into your computer, launch Sentinel, and do a read from the scanner. This will take everything that's currently loaded in your scanner and reload it back into Sentinel. So you don't have to worry about losing anything. Now, again, I went through this whole exercise myself. Thankfully, I had another secondary backup copy because my Windows machine was on its last leg. It accidentally, maybe it intentionally decided it wanted to self-destruct and started wiping out my files. And I ended up writing my 536 with my Airshow profile, which only had a couple of favorites lists in there. And when I went to go back to rewrite my 536 with all my favorites, they were all gone because Sentinel got wiped off my main machine, and I only had a couple of favorites on there. But luckily, I had a backup copy of everything, so I just reloaded it from my new computer, and Bob's your uncle on that one. So that was a good one. But yeah, just do a read from your scanner, Joseph, and you should be A-okay. All right, guys, if you like that answer, again, you're going to see I'm going heavy on these thumbs up things or these likes, because that really does help us with the performance on our YouTube and Facebook replays. All right, John's asking, I'm from Bergen, so I'm assuming Bergen, New Jersey. Yep, and we have Hudson, so we're going to say Bergen, New Jersey. Listening to the town of Hudson County, that's a Phase 1 P25. Listen to the other town that's some distance away, and it's a Phase 2 P25, and you cannot receive the second township, so you're looking for some help on that one. So, John, there's a lot of different things that could happen on this one. First of all, what kind of scanner are you using? Second of all, what kind of antenna are you using? How far away is this other township? You've got to remember, P25 is strictly digital. And think of it as your scanner is receiving just like you would listen to on your cell phone, right? When you're listening to something and you're talking with somebody on your cell phone, it's all digital. And when you start to lose the cell service, what happens, right? It starts to cut out, right? And what happens is you can't put the pieces back in to understand what the other person is saying. Well, the same thing happens with your scanner. When you have a digital signal, like a P25 signal, and it's coming in and you expect to get zeros and ones in certain places. Once that bit error gets to a certain value, or the receive level comes down too far, right? That means there's not enough zeros and ones in order for the scanner to put the conversation back together again. Now, this is especially harder on the scanner when you've got something like Phase 2. Because what actually happens with Phase 2 is, well, let's put it this way. With Phase 1, you've got this entire voice path, right? The entire frequency is being used for one transmission. But what happens is when we have Phase 2, it's actually called TDMA, which means time division multiple access. And that means over a value of milliseconds, what's happening is the frequency is being split into two. So you have carrier 1, carrier 2. Actually, user 1, user 2, user 1, user 2, which basically means talk group 1, talk group 2, talk group 1, talk group 2. When your scanner starts losing the packet sync, you're not able to now grab packet 1, packet 2. Not only are you losing the ability to have a valid decode, you're losing your sync, you're losing your timing. That makes it really hard with the decoding on everything. So how are you going to get around this? Well, you could use an outdoor antenna. You can improve the antenna that's on your scanner, such as using the Remtronics antenna, which I don't have handy with me right now. That's for 700, 800. If you're using your home antenna, you can swap that out to something with some gain or a disc cone. Move your antenna outside. I would think a Yagi antenna. Yagi antenna is like a TV antenna, right? It's pointed, right? It's got a little boom and it's got elements on the boom, and that brings up some directionality to your signal. So that might probably help you with that as well. In fact, I just actually answered this question for somebody who had a tutoring session with me this past Sunday. And we were kind of bouncing back and forth between that because he's in Ohio listening to the Ohio Mark system. And he wanted to listen to sites that were 2 counties away. Now, you're in a statewide system. He wanted to hear 2 counties away. And he's kind of getting borderline, right? Some days he can hear the tower. Some days he can't get the towers in that county. And I recommended to him also that he tries out a Yagi antenna to see if that really helps him out. So that's where I would recommend on that one. Okay, so let's see where we go and pull some more stuff in here for questions. Todd is saying, hey, Phil, everybody's checking in from, he says, hey, Phil and everybody. He's checking in from Edgemont, South Dakota. Todd, good to have you in there. Michael saying, how do I get the Zoom link? I'm partially blind, and sometimes it's hard for me to read stuff. Michael, it goes out 2 ways. Unfortunately, you signed up today, so it would come via email when I post it, so that would be a way to get it. But if you have a browser or an application that does text to speech, when you go to the Patreon website and you go to the Scanner School section, there will be 2 posts down will be the information for the Zoom session, and in there will be the link to do that. So that's where that's located. So if you go to patreon.com/scannerschool, if you're signed into your Patreon dashboard, it should be the second link down on there. Let's see. Todd signing in is KC0CCB and WRKH774, both ham and GPRS. Glenn is checking in from Raleigh, North Carolina. Dale is commenting in, and that's where a backup SDR card comes in handy. Definitely, Dale, especially with these radios like the Home Patrol and the SDS 100, 200, and the 436, 536. I know somebody that keeps a small binder full of just spare copies of his micro SD card, because what happens is if you shut off your car and the radio does not have a chance to write out the SD card, you could corrupt the SD card. And basically what happens is, when you just cut power like that, there's no write. There's no final write. So he would just, take out the micro SD card, put it in the wallet, put a new one in, and then when he finally got enough bad cards, he'd take them all back inside. He'd reflash them again. He'd put them right back in the wallet, and he'd be all set and done. So, Joseph, let us know how you are making out as well. Glenn Wright is saying Michael Gorman joined Scanner Schools at $5. Yeah, Michael just joined today, Glenn, so he should have actual access to that today. Let's see, we got some new messages in as well. John's saying, okay, John, so you've got a 996P2 with a diamond disc cone antenna, and it says the phase 1 is Bayonne, and the second town over, phase 2 is Union City. So, yeah, so the disc cone would do you good in the 360, right, range from your home. And a disc cone antenna basically has 0 gain in it. So when you do something such as a Yagi antenna, you're going to focus all of that. Plus, it's going to be cut specifically for the frequencies you need. So they're going to be very fine-tuned with very high gain in those frequencies. So being that you're looking for a secondary county, that might be the way to go. Or an antenna that is tuned directly for that as well. Let's see who else we got in here. We've got WD8 PRS. Looks like it's APRS, but it's WD8 PRS. Very good, Gary. Good to have you in there. And we are at the bottom up. Joseph's got it right here. I got it fixed. He had Sentinel on his laptop, and he had the file in Sentinel on his laptop. So what he did was he told me he just read back from the SDS 100, and it's perfectly running and working. So, Joseph, if you want to back up your Sentinel files, what you're going to do is go into your My Documents folder on your computer, and there's going to be a file called Uniden, and inside that Uniden folder is going to be a folder called BCD. No, it's probably BCDX36. Might be something different because you have an SDS 100, but it's all the same software. And inside there is going to be a couple of files. You'll see a file for every single favorites list you created. You'll see a file for every profile you've created in there. So you can just grab that entire Uniden folder if you want on your My Documents and just make a backup copy of that. Save it somewhere else. Save it to the cloud. This way, you'll always have a backup copy of your Sentinel. And if anything ever happens again, when it hits the fan, you can go ahead and you can just drag that copy back over in your My Documents, and you'll be right back in the mix of things. So again, guys, if you find these answers helpful to you guys, give me a thumbs up, whatever you're watching on, or you're watching or watching us on. Again, I'm going to repeat myself here. So again, if you got us over on YouTube, go ahead and hit a subscribe as well. And when you hit that bell, it lets us know when a new podcast drops and also when we go live and we do this. All right. I think I'm talking too quick tonight because we went through all these questions so fast. So we have a new member coming in now, too, over on the Zoom chat. So I've got Lindy, who's waiting to connect to audio, and also owner's iPad. Excellent. So we'll see who those are when they light up. But glad to see that we've got some people coming in as well over on the Extra Credit Club. So again, if anybody here is a Patreon supporter at the $5 a month member, we will be doing our own private roundtable discussion for about an hour after this Let's Go as well. Let me give you an update to what's coming on the podcast. So we've got session 190 is coming out next week, and I'll give you a spoiler on that one. If you guys get National Communications Magazine, again, strongly recommend you go over there and subscribe to their magazine. One of the most recent articles, the author who penned that article is actually going to be a guest on next week's podcast. So I'm going to leave that spoiler at that. But that was a really great conversation. And it was his idea, too, for that podcast episode. So what he did was he reached out to me, and I sent him back over to the website so he can click on podcast and become a guest. And when he does that, and when you might want to do that as well, what happens is it brings up a calendar, and you can pick the date and the time that works for you to be a guest on the podcast. And it's just a conversation that we record. And we meet on Zoom, and it's very simple and very easy. And conversations can go pretty well. So if there's a topic that you'd like to hear on the podcast, or a topic that you'd like to bring to the podcast, something maybe that you're an expert at, or something that you've heard, or something that interests you, go ahead. Come on, be a guest. I'm always looking for somebody to kind of break the cycle of just me every week. I know that the listeners really do appreciate having somebody else in their ear besides just me every week on the podcast. So let's see what we have. Joseph saying he wants to know if he can book me to help with that as well. Yeah, Joseph, you can definitely book me. And again, if anybody wants to book me for a tutoring or consulting call, you can go to scannerschool.com/tutoring. All right, let's see what else we got here. Michael's saying National Communication Magazine is the same one he's got in the 90s and 80s. Yes, that's the same magazine, Michael. They've got online copies right now only, so they're not mailing it out anymore. But Chuck does a really great job at putting the magazine together and keeping it afloat, keeping it alive. And if you want to hear what it takes to actually publish and get that magazine out in digital print, you can go to session 94 of the podcast. And I only know that off the top of my head because I had to look it up when I recorded the intro to next week's podcast this past Sunday. So it's still fresh in my memory. All right, what else we got here? Joseph saying, yep, you'll get it right on the website. So what else we have coming in here? Looking in the list here, we got nothing else really coming in. Tell you what else we have coming on the podcast. Like I said, we've got session 200 coming on, and I'm really thinking about having a big celebration for episode 200. It's kind of a big milestone. 200 or 199 continuous weeks of running the podcast. We did actually have 2 episodes drop the first week, so we cheated with the count, I guess you could say, on that one. And maybe we'll come back on here and have a little bit of a party. Maybe we'll see if we can have a giveaway or something like that to kind of celebrate episode 200. If you guys have any suggestions for any modifications, changes, suggestions for improvements to either these live things that we do once a month or also to the podcast, would love to hear it. You can drop me an email at phil@scannerschool.com. All right. What else? I'm not seeing too many come in from Facebook or Twitter, so I hope that we are actually broadcasting on those 2 feeds right there. I'm going to go ahead and swing over and just double-check my connections to make sure that, yeah, it says it's live. And I can see I've got a couple users over on Twitter/Periscope right now as well. So excellent. Those are working. All right. Glenn is asking, can you explain what's happening with the new, not yet used P25 systems? Lots of data activity on Unitrunker all day and night, but no voice. Okay, sure. That's a great one, Glenn. So some P25 systems, you'll find a lot of activity besides voice on them, and that would basically mean data. And that could be, you might see people who are just joining. They turn, every time somebody, there goes my pager. Every time somebody turns on a radio, that radio has to affiliate with a talk group. And you will actually see them in Unitrunker actually join the talk group. And when they turn the dial, you'll see that they are they're being granted access, or they're being denied access to the talk group as well. There's a lot of different things that happen behind the scenes that you don't actually get to understand when you look or listen with a scanner or a radio. So that could also be even straight data. I do apologize with the pager. It will stop in just a second here. But might as well let it go off, right? The DAT can also be true data, like terminal to terminal, MDT, right? There's a lot of different things that can happen over a trunk system as well. So you can have GPS packets, even something simple like that, telemetry, can all come out over the air on a P25 system. Even regular trunk systems also have the same ability to do that as well. So you may not see a lot of voice, you may not hear a lot of voice, but there's still plenty of things happening. And even if you find the radio techs, right, that's kind of how you can find their radios as well, because you'll see them stepping through and coming through with trunk systems or talk groups and affiliating and checking denials and even stuff like that. So, yeah, keep monitoring these unused P25 systems on Unitrunker or SDR trunk or whatever it is, DSD Plus, that you enjoy using. So, Glenn's also chiming in too. This could also be OTAP of radios since it has not yet been activated yet in the old systems in use. Yes, it could also be the OTAP, which is over-the-air programming, right? OTAP, right? Over-the-air programming, I believe is what it stands for. So I forgot what the A stood for a second, but it's air. All right. We got Bob in there as well. Hey, Bob, how you doing? Local, just a hop, skip, and a jump from here. And good to see you on the YouTube channel as well tonight. And we've got some more people chiming in over on the Zoom call. That's great. We got more coming in. So again, guys, over there on Zoom, we've got you in a chat. I can't actually hear you right now, or else I get a constant echo in my ear. Let's see what else we've got going on over. So we got a couple of events actually coming up that you may want to check out. So this weekend, August, I think it's the 6th and the 7th, the International Space Station will be doing short or SSTV, which is slow scan television. If you've never done slow scan TV, it's really an interesting mode to play around with. It's very simple to do, and you can even do it with your smartphone and then play the audio back. So if you listen to the downlink from the International Space Station, which should be 144.8 or 145.8. I'm having a brain fart now. I can't think. Somebody correct me. It's the downlink. It's a 2-meter downlink of the International Space Station. What's really nice about having a 2-meter downlink on them is the fact you don't really have to worry about the Doppler effect all that too much, right? So that's a bonus when it comes to listening to them. So what you'll actually have happen is they'll send down a picture, and you got to wait for the ISS to pass overhead. So if your Windows user, you can use software like Orbitron, or you can use a website like Heavens Above, and you can find out when the ISS will be passing overhead on Friday or Saturday. Tune your scanner to it, and you can actually record the audio with your smartphone, and if you play it back with software on your computer, and I use I think it's MMSSTV, it's free software, and you can play it back into that piece of software, and it will actually start displaying the picture. Or you can cheat and do what I do and just have your scanner feed right into that piece of software using your sound card. So it's a real fun mode to play around with. It's kind of one of these set it and forget it kind of things. Just set up your scanner, let it come into your computer, and at the end of the weekend, you should actually have a stack of pictures that show up on your computer as long as the ISS is transmitting SSTV as it passes over your house. Again, the higher up in the horizon, sometimes the better it is, because again, don't forget you've got a null at the top of your antenna if you're using a disco antenna. But if it's pretty decent in the horizon, again, line of sight right to the ISS. So that's what you're looking for as well. Let's see what else we got here coming in before we start wrapping things up here. Mike is saying ideas for the podcast, instructions on different searches on different scanners. That's a good one. Let me go ahead and write that one down. And searches on different scanners, because they are different. And that would be a good one. Again, I like to say, too, and Chris will vouch for that, the secrets are in the searches. Also, live on their Facebook, what's the deal with the new TMA control channels? I've seen some discussions on Radio Reference. That is actually coming up very, very, very shortly on the podcast. So you're going to want to listen into the podcast episodes through August. That's actually going to be probably 2 weeks from tonight. If I've got things straight in my head, I got a couple things I want to get through, and it's really going to come up. So that's definitely something we are going to talk about, because that is a hot topic right now. Todd's saying, if anybody's close to South Dakota, Sturgis is having their annual motorcycle rally next week. Scanner listeners will love the comms. Todd, if you're close to Sturgis, I love to pick your brain, maybe get you on the podcast, and we could talk about the kind of activity you hear while Sturgis is happening. I'm sure that is some good stories that you could talk about as well. So if you are interested, I'd love to have you on as a guest, and let me know. That'd be great to have a conversation with you about that one and for an upcoming podcast episode. Bob, got you in again over now on Facebook. I think I got you in both places. You must be watching me in stereo. So very cool. All right, so what I'm going to do right now is I am going to now switch over to this screen before we check out, because I want to make sure that we definitely have an opportunity to thank all of my Patreon supporters who have been supporting us. And this list that's coming up right now is as of this weekend, so anybody who has upgraded or changed their status within the last 2 days, unfortunately, you don't make the list. I do apologize, but it does take time to make sure that everything is set up and good to go in these scrolling things that happen over on that side of the screen over there. Christina is also in. Good to see you, Christina, another local here from Long Island, and nice to have you on as well. Again, yes, we have a new time slot. We are doing 8 p.m.s Eastern time instead of 9 p.m.s. It's just easier on me to make sure I go to bed on time and I'm not staying up so late because it was getting pretty bad. So Todd's saying, used to live in Sturgis pre-2012, but live down here where he can't hear Sturgis anymore. All right, Todd. Well, again, if you still want to come on and talk about it, we would definitely love to hear what you had to say about that as well. So with that, guys, I'm going to say that we are going to transition in just a couple minutes. So this is the last call right now. We'll get one more question answered as soon as it comes in, but this will be the last call before we go ahead and do our roundtable discussion for the next hour with everybody who's a $5 Patreon supporter. Again, over on our Zoom link over there. Bob's saying he likes 8 better. Yeah, me too. I like 8 better as well. Plus, it's easier, right? The scanner guys come on every Wednesday at 8, so might as well, keep things the same, right? Keep things organized so you don't have to worry about, I'm the oddball. It's going to be a 9 o'clock night for me, so that's there. And the Secrets are in the Searches series. Yeah, we could really go through that, all the stuff that we've picked up on Secrets and Searches and stuff like that. And the next thing I want to remember, too, is if you're not subscribed to us on any social media platform, such as Twitter or Instagram or Facebook, I look, jump on it. Make sure you follow us on all these platforms. I have been busy the last 2 weeks creating a whole bunch of really, really bad memes for the Scanner Radio hobby. So believe it or not, I've got about 150 different memes that will be going out, and you're going to want to see this cringe fest. So if you want to see my really bad sense of humor, if you want to see just how bad the dad jokes can be, and if you want to know, just how pitiful some of these are going to be, I definitely recommend following us on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook. And again, everything is right over there as well. So again, Joseph saying, can you give me the website again to book you? Yeah, Joe, it's scannerschool.com/tutoring, and that is it. So Christina says he loves the memes, and yes, these memes are going to cover everything from Bernie Sanders with his "I'm hereby asking again" to let's see what else we got here. Hide the Pain Harold will be making a stop in the memes, as well as Mr. Bean and Vince McMahon. The Orange County Choppers teams will be part of that as well, so you can get it. We got some SpongeBob memes. We'll be poking a lot of fun at Baofungs along the way. I've got about 20 memes just set up directly for those, so it's going to be a good time. So again, make sure you subscribe to us over there on social media. So Christina's saying, yes, had an argument about the legality of scanners and transmitting, and maybe I can use them. Yeah, that is also going to be part of some of these memes. So you're going to want to make sure you're along for the ride. We have enough to make at least a year's worth of posts out of them. So guys, I am going to say one more time, thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe. Let us know how you did. The thumbs up really help us on these video platforms. And for everybody else who is standing by on Zoom, we'll be there in 1 second. For everybody who joined us tonight, again, I want to thank you very much. Again, podcast episode 200 is right around the corner. We'll be hitting that in 2 months. And if you have any ideas for any type of celebrations or giveaways or something like that, you let me know, and we are going to take care of that. So with that, episode 200, Easter eggs. Here we go, guys. We'll catch you all. Hey, listen to me next week on the podcast, and we'll do this live again next month. And enjoy the Easter egg. 73, everyone.